How's it going, everyone? This is your boy Chosen, and today I'm presenting to you a new mini-series where I explain to the best of my abilities how to play each role in Shinobi Striker. And obviously by the title of this video, you know that we are talking about range types. I should say though, before we really get into it, this is not an advanced guide. This is a beginner's guide. So I'm going to be explaining how to properly throw kunais, how far or close you need to be to use certain ninjutsu, how to properly play as a range type in certain predicaments, and all that good stuff. If you came here expecting to leave this video, hop in a game and go 10-1, this is not guaranteeing that. Again, this is a beginner's guide. So if you're new to the game or looking to improve your skills as a range type, then this is your video. So we're going to start with regular combat. If you're new to Shinobi Striker, then you should know that range types do not have the best combos when it comes to regular attacks. Attack types, if done right, can literally damage you from 100% of health all the way to 15 by just regular combos. Range types, although they cannot combo as well as attack types, still have their advantages. And I should also mention that applies to every class. By the end of this mini-series, you will notice the different pros and cons to each class. When it comes to close range attacks, even though range types can't perform long combos, they have the ability to stun a player temporarily. And how to do that is by only attacking the player once. So when attacking a player, press your attack button once, which then hits the opponent and leaves them stunned for a short period of time. You are then free to attack however you want. But that isn't even the most known trait of range types. Range types are known for their kunai spams. Kunais are obviously meant to be thrown at a distance, hence why they're only able to be spammed by range types. When hopping into the tutorial of the game, they will obviously teach you about kunai throwing, but not exactly when to use it. You know, which type of kunai throw you should be using and how many you should use during a sequence, which is why I'm here to explain this to you guys. So one of the most important things to know when playing Shinobi Striker is to always make your enemy waste their substitution before pursuing a combo or spamming kunais. This way, when performing said combo, it reaches its full effectiveness in terms of damage. Another thing you should know is that kunai throwers can be attack, range, or heal types. Remember, there is a difference between a kunai thrower and a kunai spammer. The unique thing about range types though, when it comes to being a kunai thrower, is that it takes 3 kunais in order to knock a player down. Doing this gives you the ability to temporarily charge up your ninjutsu while waiting for the opponent to get back up, or to make an escape if your health is super low. I'm sure you get where I'm going with this, but in this case, what I personally like to do is to create my own little combo by knocking the player down with 3 kunais, then performing a ninjutsu as they're getting back up from close range. That way, they will have no way of escaping my attack unless they substitute. And remember what I said about forcing players to waste their substitution so it reaches its full effectiveness. And it doesn't even have to be with Majestic. Any jutsu that you know will land an attack from close range can work with this strategy. Next up is kunai spamming. A cool fact about Shinobi Striker is that the best kunai throwers or spammers are Itachi and Haku, and that's even counting our own created characters. So if you want to learn how to be an effective kunai thrower or spammer, I would suggest hopping into a match with Itachi and practicing with him. Now, kunai spamming can be performed by the triangle or Y button and has its own positives and negatives. The negatives about kunai spamming from my experience is that there are times when I'm not even too far from an opponent and they're barely moving, but majority of my kunais are just somehow missing. Especially when they actually are moving around, it is very hard to land even one of them. Kunai spamming, again from my experience, is only done right when you're up close on someone because it's very hard to dodge from that range. The only thing you can do as a victim to this technique is to guard. And there will be scenarios of you being at very low health dealing with 2 kunai spammers. And if that ever happens, I'm telling you, you're dead. Don't try and fight it. There's no plot armor like there is in Naruto to get you out of this situation. I say this because eventually your guard will break. And if you bring your guard down, even if you manage to dodge a few kunais, you still have 2 kunai spammers throwing multiple kunais at you, and one will hit for sure. And that brings us into the positives of kunai spamming. If performed and timed right, it can be very effective in knocking players down. And if you're really good at it, no joke, you can take on someone with only kunais and probably win. I've done this against a bunch of lower ranked players to actually test if this was possible, and this wasn't on purpose. You know, I play solo way more than I play with a team, and I'm usually put into a match with these random players. And to be fair, 1, I am just playing the game, and 2, it's benefiting them more than me because I'm not using ninjutsu against them while they are. And now we're moving on to ninjutsu, which is the specialty of range type. Now when it comes to ranges and their ninjutsus, you'd think that all these techniques should be performed from a distance, and surprisingly, this is not the case. Like I showed you guys earlier with Majestic Destroyer Flame, that technique is performed at its best from close range. Throw away the kunai knockdown technique I showed you before and this move is still just as great. What makes Majestic overpowered is the fact that it can guard break. If you were to shoot this at a player from a close distance, the only option is to guard or take the damage, and like I said, if you guard, it's going to get broken, which resets your substitution and leaves you vulnerable. Jutsus like Majestic that are performed at a distance don't have the best tracking and is pretty easy to dodge. Other jutsus like Fireball or even Flame Control, those are all better performed at close distance. The only time I'd say it would be okay to use these techniques at a distance is if you use it on someone who isn't paying attention. That way, they won't dodge it, because they don't even know that it's coming. Now there are some jutsus that can only be effective at long distance, like Water Dragon or Orochimaru's ultimate, the reanimation technique. I used to see a lot of newer players try this jutsu at close range and it rarely ever hits. Those kinds of jutsus need to be performed at a distance. You might get lucky and nail an attack, but why take the risk and waste a technique when you could use it at its best capabilities? And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys each jutsu that's good for close or far. It's better if you experiment that for yourself, but I will tell you that some jutsus, even though it seems like it's meant for long range, are more effective close up. And there are even a lot of ranged jutsu combos you can perform. I made 2 videos which both showcase the best ninjutsu combos in the game, link will be in the description. But one example I can give you guys is to hit the player once, which then leaves them on a short stun animation, perform the hiding in the ass jutsu, which stuns the player again for a longer period of time, now gives you the ability to perform techniques like Heaven Concealed because they can't move. The biggest issue everyone has with Heaven Concealed or even C4 is that it takes too long to activate, and players can easily move out of the way. With this combo, players can now effectively use these techniques. To recap so far, we have covered basic combat, kunai throws, and jutsus. Now we'll talk about how to actually play your role in certain predicaments. And this is going to go 2 ways. I'll explain the best way to play when you're with a team, and the best way to play when you're playing with randoms. Ranges when it comes to team play should never be the ones to attack at close range or even be the first ones to attack in general. They should be the ones to shoot fireballs and water dragons at a distance, like a support role is what I'd say. I know healers are technically the ones who should be the support roles, but that doesn't mean you can't also be one as a range type. Now when it comes to randoms, this is a little more complicated because it entirely depends on who you're playing with. If you're playing with randoms and you guys don't run a full rainbow, which is 1 different class per player, then at that point it just means every player is playing for themselves and how they want to play. It probably also means that your team won't have any teamwork, right? If you guys don't have any roles that won't help each other on battle. If this is the case, the best play here is to stick to one teammate and support each other in battle. Ranges have the lowest health pool out of every class, and even though healers are low too, they can, well, heal themselves. You can't. So if you're a range playing with those who are all running completely random builds, then as a range, I suggest you stick to one of your teammates and work with them on clearing the objective, whether it's base or barrier or etc. Never fight on your own unless you know what you're doing, because you will get your ass beat. I promise. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my rundown to the beginner's guide for range types. If you like today's video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and for more Shinobi Striker content, hit that subscribe button. This has been Chosen, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.